like people are trying to make it seem that a conclusion doesn't matter. They're like, well, just because it ended bad doesn't make it bad. I'm like, well, it does. I mean, like, this is when you're telling a complete story, a shitty ending could ruin like a story
If
like
you
immediately.
get a 5 course meal and then your last like the dessert on that 5 course meal is a literal pile of shit, then your meal is a pile of shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. And this is the thing too, is that Attack on Titan had a nice little break. Had a nice little break. Like, I mean, not the manga, but like the anime.
Bro,
And
that
I
was like
think a
five
lot
fucking
more people
years.
are an anime only more than manga. But it makes people forget too is that they had a shaky ass beginning too. That beginning was shaky as fuck.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? You get a shaky ending with or a shaking beginning with a shitty ending. I can't hype up the middle. I can't, like, although it's good, I'm not gonna take away from it. Like, it was good. There are definitely some
Like,
very fun things. And I agree with you. I think that it really starts getting weird as soon as they start talking about, when they figure out that there's more across the water.
like
Um it just takes a different turn where you're like, what is going on here?
And, it's kind of sad in that regard because one of the biggest things that you can have in like manga or anime is like the world building aspect. So the fact that we finally get to see what's outside of those borders, we finally learn what's in the basement, and it starts throwing in all of this politics and stuff like that. It's like, all right, I don't know about this with you.
like
You're
this
starting to kind of
this was
drain
a
me.
whole ass this was a whole ass story about giant meat mechs killing shit, and then next thing y'all know,
Meat
here's the
mechs.
racism. Here's the
Yeah,
racism. There
here's the
you go.
racism.
Racism, you got a bunch of self-hate, you got a bunch of just a bunch of shit in there
And
that
and I'm not gonna say like societal aspects like that take away from a series, but it just like it it felt like it tried to make itself something that it wasn't. Or like if it was gonna do that from jump, I feel like that could have been pushed a bit more, and it just kind of fell off because it was doing a lot. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I stay away from certain time travel stories and shit, because not everyone can do time travel right. And then whenever you make your main character omniscient and your character still doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, that's an issue. He
Yeah.
knows everything, but he doesn't know what to do, and
Yeah.
he can't
There's way
explain
too
why
many
he did what he
choices.
did.
yeah, I mean the time traveling thing was so weird to me. Like, and it got confusing because there was first it was okay, we can visit the past and we can see the past. And then Aaron suddenly is like, well, actually, guess what? Nigga, I could see into the future too. Like, nigga, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, why, like, where is this going?
And then it wasn't
Y-
even the full future too.
yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And so I the one thing I'll say about this is that the one thing I did enjoy about the time traveling thing is I like the fact that when him, Armin, and Mikasa are all talking, they are talking as children. And I think that just speaks a lot to Aaron, that back when Aaron felt that he had a bit of innocence still, and still had this bit of like, had this little glow in his eyes where they're all were just friends. Like they weren't really, what their biggest thing was finding freedom beyond the walls. It wasn't about being a Titan. It wasn't about any other shit. And I like how a lot of their dialogue when they talk in the past, especially when they're talking about like, this last chapter where Armin's asking this nigga like, bro, like, why the fuck did you just, why were you bugging? Like, why are you tripping out so much? Um, I like that they talk as kids because I just think that just adds a different emotional feel to it. But the fact that you gotta kind of read the last two chapters as one full chapter because how it's split up and how it just doesn't make it the
It doesn't
it
make
just doesn't
sense
make sense. It doesn't feel, you know what I'm saying? It feels really choppy.
because it was the way that they started it, because they started immediately with him and Armin talking without any type of like it could have even been just like Armin on the battlefield and then like him going into like a flash or some shit,
Yeah, like
and
some Jimmy
then
Neutron like mind warp or something like.
yeah,
All right.
like him actually remembering it, and it just like it was so abrupt that it was just like I thought pages were fucking missing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's one of those things that the anime will correct because you know they can fill in the scenes with Armin
Yeah.
remembering everything that happens once the head gets cut. So I mean, like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, the ending is messy for the manga, so let's try to clean it up a little bit to make it a little bit more satisfying towards the end. Like I could imagine, like when they're all on the boat heading back towards Parody with John and Peak and everybody else sitting at that table. And they're having a discussion. It's like, okay, we're about to bring peace, and this is the first step that we're gonna. You can imagine like some soft music playing in the background, maybe
Oh
some
yeah.
flashbacks to like them being in the scout corps training, the training arc and everything. When Eren first turns into a Titan, like you know they're gonna try to like hype up or like build up the moment in the anime. But like as far as the manga, I don't know about this, Chief. The it's cool, it's
Because
alright.
what I will say about Attack on Titan is even though I do give the even though I do give the manga a lot of flack, I will say that the anime does a whole lot better job of the mount than the manga as a part, sorry, of bringing the story together because they have more mechanical aspects to it as opposed to just being so dry because
Yeah,
they got well past all the political shit in the anime a whole lot better than they did in the manga because they didn't focus on it as much.
Do you
yeah,
think this is gonna be one of those? This is gonna be one of those things where I think the anime definitely outshines the manga.
Hell yeah.
Um, I just think the story that he's trying to tell or that's being told just it doesn't fit manga form in a way. Um, it's very dialogue too. And we're gonna get into another chapter that was very dialogue this this week. Uh, but no, it's just so dialogue and I think just there's so much going on that reading it and actually visually seeing it and like in action is it's two different feelings. And I think that the anime, I think that them seeing how the anime or the final manga chapter is being received, I can see them trying to pulling an audible on the anime for part two.
Hold that shit.
I could definitely see them pulling an audible and giving us. I'm not gonna say a completely different ending, but I could see them doing something different with the ending.